Hi everyone, so this is a video to show you how to pitch and pack the Cinch Instant windbreak. So first of all, let's take all the kit out the bag. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to lay out the windbreak along the floor. The reason we do it on the floor is that if it's windy, it just makes setup much easier. So I shall do that now. And if you just find one end and just sort of pull it out. And I'm going to try and lay this across the floor like so. Might go off camera a little bit because this is a big windbreak. It's a great size. It's nice and long. So I prefer to set up the windbreak with it facing downwards, and the reason for this is that I find it easier to use the floor to push the pop mechanism here, the floor as an anchor to push. So I just hold the pole. Once it's laid out like this, I just hold the pole, push the middle, and you'll hear it pop. You'll see that the windbreak panel takes a nice taut form. So you go along and just do that. I'm kneeling down, but you don't have to. You can stand up and use the floor as leverage still, like that. I just find it easier just to whiz along on the floor though and push them down. So once you've got the windbreak popped up, all you need to do is just lift it up like so. If you lift it up from the middle, it's easier, and you're wanting to stand the windbreak up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the windbreak into position for the camera so that I can show you the next stages nice and easy. Right, so there you'll see now that I've got the windbreak up in position. Once you've done this, what I'd advise is just going round the windbreak to secure it into position. You might prefer to do this at a slightly earlier stage if it is windy, but just up into position, get your pegs out of the bag, and you'll see at the bottom of each intersection of the windbreak is a piece of webbing. Just put the peg through that and peg it out. Same again there, and you'd go around the outside of the windbreak and do that at every single intersection. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pegs to pegging points just to peg out. Once you've done that, you've got the pole bag here, and you just need to assemble the poles, which all you do for these is pick the pole up and it just clicks in like so. I'll do another one just to show you. There, clicks in like that. Now on these poles we have a spike at either end. These spikes are removable, and the reason for that is if you're on an all-weather pitch on a campsite, which a lot of you are these days, it's a harder ground, so you won't be able to secure the spike into the grass because it's hard ground. It's not grass, so you wouldn't be able to secure the spike in. So if you are on a harder pitch, just remove one end, either end, it's up to you, and they unscrew like so, and that means that you're not having to rest the spike on top of the gravel. I'm going to put this back in for this video and show you what you do with the poles. So you have each intersection on the windbreak, you have a pole sleeve. Just slot the pole in. The pole will come down and it'll come out at the bottom here. There we go. You might just need a little bit of wiggling there. You can see it's come out just at the bottom there. And then what you do is you would get the O-ring. There's a little toggle there in the shape of an O on top of each pole sleeve, and you just lift that up and you put it over the spike, and that just secures the pole in. So at this point you've got the peg in, you've got the pole in, and all that is left to do is to guy out the pole. So you'll see this is the inside of the windbreak. Now you don't put the guys on the inside, which is a great advantage of this style of pop-up windbreak, is that the guys don't encroach on your living space. So what you'd do is you would put the guy line on top of the spike on the pole, like so, and then you would pull the guy line out, get it to the correct length that you want it, put your peg through, and then you would peg it out. Like so. I'll just pull it in over there so you can see it a little bit. I've done there. I'll do it like that so you can see what I'm doing. There. Get the correct tension on the guy line and peg it down. And what that gives you there is you've got the pole in, pegs out, and the guy line. You've also got the structure of the panel with the poles. It gives you like a nice firm structure. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pole sleeves and 7 poles. What I would advise as a bare minimum is to do the first section of each side of the windbreak and then maneuver how you want the windbreak set up. If it's not really windy, you don't really need to put all the poles in. That will withstand quite high winds, but if you're talking more gale force winds, then I definitely advise going through and putting every single pole in and pegging it out with the guy lines. That will give you a really solid windbreak that's not going anywhere. So that's set up, all nice and easy. So for takedown, it's just reverse the steps. So you take all your pegs out, put them in the peg bag, take all your guy lines out, and put them in the bag. Always advise packing everything away properly to make setup much easier next time. And there you go, I'll just put get the pole out. So once you've got all the poles out, put them back in the pole bag. And then I will show you how to, a really cool way to go around and take down the wind panels. And I find this by far and away the easiest. And I'm going to try and show you from an angle that makes it nice and easy to explain. So maybe the side angle might be best here. So I'm just going to move this windbreak in. So if you hold the panels at the top like so, and just use your knees on these bottom poles, and you just push, and you'll see it collapses in like that. So I'll show you again. Just hold the panel of the windbreak at the top, push in the middle, there. And I just use my knees I'm pushing these 2 poles here, and I'm going to go around and do that on all the panels, there. And you'll see that's the windbreak down. Now, what's best to do here, a neat little tip, is to look for this part, which is the bit you push down to pop it into place. And if you hold one and you just pull them together like so, this will concertina the windbreak together and make it nice and easy to pack up. So I've got these here. And what you'll see now is that gives me that shape at the top, which is going to make it nice and easy to get into the bag. So I'll put that there and I'll show you it going back in the bag, because that's an important part. When you get the bag, you've got 2 ends. You've got this end, which is a solid end, and I always like to use this end to put the windbreak in first, because it anchors against the bag. And it means it's much easier to zip up. So I'd get the windbreak like so, put that in that end of the bag, using the end of the bag to push it in nice and firmly, and then just stuff the windbreak in, and there, like so. And what I like to do is just zip up the bag a little bit, so it gives you this sort of nice, firmer shape to put in the rest of the kit. So put the poles in, the peg and guy lines, and my repair kit, and then zip it up. And there we have the Cinch Instant windbreak, pitched and packed.